Welcome to Trial by Wine. We take a closer look at crimes that highlight how fascinating humans can be. Schmidty, Swanee and Clarkey visit crimes and run them through their jury of three, debating both sides of the case to agree an appropriate, if totally fictitious, sentence. Please be advised, Trial by Wine may include explicit or disturbing content and will include drunken rambling. Listener discretion is advised.
How are we?
We're fantastic.
Well, thank you.
Okay. Any news from the last 10 minutes?
None.
No.
Anybody had a chat?
No, there's no news. All right.
No chits.
No chit.
No one for a chew?
No
chits given.
No chits
Maybe that's what we should call it.
No shit's given.
I like
it's
it,
true.
yeah.
It's factually correct.
Yeah. We'll go with that. All right.
Lots of chits given for the victims.
Yeah.
But
Yes.
no shits given for
Yeah.
Malacca.
I suppose we should introduce ourselves. I'm Schmidty.
I'm Swanee.
And I'm Clarkey. And together we are
Trial by
Wine.
Oh,
Like
beautiful.
that,
And
like
what are
that.
we drinking now after
Wine.
17
So we're
levels? Well,
off to
What
the-
are you guys on? I'm intrigued.
we are now,
Shiraz.
we're now on the Heathcote Shiraz, which we brought, which is 2023, which is fine. It's the kind of, let's call it a clean skin, but it's got a skin, so I don't understand how it works. But anyway, $10 a bottle, quite drinkable. So anyone in the Victoria region who would like to order from Heathcote Winery, get onto their website. They are lovely.
$10
people.
a bottle.
Yeah, well, 10, maybe $11 a bottle plus delivery, but it's still very, very cheap, and it's a very nice drop.
Yeah.
And it's quite
That's good.
tasty.
It's
I
a
love
good
I
drop.
apologise
It's a
for
good
my
drop.
behaviour later.
Yeah, well, we pre-gamed before the last episode. The last episode took 2 hours, so this is going to be loose, but I'm going to give it my best shot.
It's
Hit me with your best shot.
Okay, so Swanee, what are you on? Are you drinking anything?
on my raspberry soda.
Oh,
You need to calm down, girlfriend.
You could have spun that
I know.
as something totally different.
I
'Cause it was a
totally
beautiful
could have. I could
can.
have.
Raspberry soda. Okay,
Oh,
cool.
that could be a
Not even a
spritzer of
splash
some
of
I
body.
don't, think
description.
I was thinking when I went to get this from the fridge, so I looked at the Coke Zero and the Diet Coke. So I thought, I'm kind of over it. But it did remind me through the week, there was a photograph that I saw online. It was for a woman. Unfortunately, there is a connection to the Kardashians. That's why I saw it. She's like a family friend of theirs. And it was her birthday. And the birthday cake was a massive can of Diet Coke. And she was like, let's say the woman's 70, and she was leaning forward, lighting a ciggy off the candle.
Durry,
And I was like,
No.
go. I thought Schmidty would like that cake. She would find that so inspirational. Back in the day, Caroline and I would have loved that cake.
Yeah.
Back in the day, a Diet Coke and a ciggy.
I thought you were going to say
it just
that
looked
Coke
so weird.
was
The
a
woman was-
That was
massive
lunch
arse
and
of
dinner
Diet
all
Coke.
together.
No, I probably
Carl.
Diet Coke and a
somewhere.
cigarette. That was like dinner, wasn't it?
Were you a ciggy
Yeah.
smoker back then?
Yeah, totally she was.
Oh, yeah.
Well,
But not like I was never as like proficient at it. I was like all things that I do, I did poorly.
Dabbled.
And by the time I met my husband, he was still bum puffing you.
Bum puffing.
love it.
So yeah, I was very good at social smoking, and I always had a ciggy on the dance floor. That's for sure.
bet you
Back in the
know
day
all
when you could have a
trumpets.
ciggy on the dance floor, you can't anymore.
Dance floor, yeah.
It was a time. It was a time and a place. Yeah.
You had a shower the next morning and all you could smell was cigarette smoke.
If you could smell anything at all. Anyway.
Because we all had product back then. Oh, the stink.
Oh, the shame. Okay, well, shall I tell you a story?
Could you?
Please do.
Oh, please do.
So have you ever engaged in or been a favourite in your family?
Fuck no.
Hmm.
Not even close. Sorry, Mum.
Well, I don't know. Anyway. So we all know that you're not.
Wouldn't like to say.
Well, no, I feel
Oh.
like in the later years of my relationship with my father, I was definitely a favourite. But when I was younger, it wasn't me. So we all know that you're not supposed to favour one child or a family member over another.
Are you not?
No,
You
apparently
say that
not.
like it's a rule.
No, you're not meant to. And Swanee was very circumspect in her response just then. I'm sure she's got a favourite son, but she won't acknowledge it.
Oh no, it changes all the time, Jerry. There's usually a least favourite one. That's more the point. At any given time, someone's in favour, someone's out of favour.
Where
That's
will
just
we
life.
go?
Yeah. So you're not supposed to favour a child or a family member over another, but then there's the favourite grandparent or the son or the daughter or the niece or the nephew. And I've long said that my eldest nephew is my favourite, and when the kids were little, he certainly stood out to me, mostly because he worked out early on in life that being nice to your auntie got you trips to the cinema and presents when she was home from the UK.
I'm glad you finished that story because I thought you were going to say because he worked out. That's not okay.
No, he's a real flabby little kid when he was young. No, I'm just kidding. No, he realised that if he played it right, he got good gifts and what have you, and attention from his auntie. But the others, not so attuned to the vagaries of family dynamics, used to ignore me or be patently rude, frankly. Of course, as they all grew up and turned into the magnificent people that they are now, things levelled out, and I love them all for the individuals that they are. In my
Equally.
yeah. Anyway, in my own immediate family, I used to think that the middle sister, i.e. Hub, was Dad's favourite. And of course, no one missed that Mum would treat my brother Bill differently and differentially, much to the disgust of the feminist daughters that he and Dad would always be fed first. So Mum was always one to feed the boys first. Yes, that's right. Disgusting Bernadette.
Wow.
God rest
It's very
her soul.
old-fashioned.
Yeah, still. And as I just alluded to, early on I thought it was Hub was the favourite, and then by the time I was about 24, I realised I was totally the favourite of Dad, and I was very comfortable with that. Anyway, still, none of this bothered us, apparently. Well, I say that, but anyway, there's a whole lot of, familial angst post my mother dying that might make what I just said a total lie. But anyway, it was just one of those dynamics that we complain about or tease about now and then. However, favouritism can be very, very harmful.
Can it?
Yeah, from an article
Do
by
tell.
Deborah Dennett on the BBC, the quote
British
is this.
Broadcasting Commission.
That's good. Thank you. Yes, the BBC.
Clarifying. I thought she might have been on the other BBC, and I'm like, I don't know.
Not
she's
Big
credible.
Black Cock. No. This is British Broadcasting Commission. So, quote, research suggests that from an early age, children are aware of differential treatment, such as parents showing more warmth to one sibling than another, or feeding one of them first.
Or literally zero warmth.
Such perceived parental favouritism has been associated with low self-esteem in children, as well as childhood anxiety, depression, and behavioural problems, including risky behaviour. There may also be a knock-on effect on emotional well-being that causes other, more indirect problems. Researchers in China have, for example, shown that parental favouritism is a predictor for mobile phone addiction. Who saw that coming?
In a one-child policy or
In
just
adolescence, just in adolescence, of which you only have one.
Yeah, so you got no siblings to play with.
In a small Canadian study of 8 homeless teenagers, which frankly is not statistically significant, so I'm not quite sure why it's ever been quoted. But anyway, 7 said they felt their parents had favoured a sibling over them, while they had always been the problem child.
Not just 8
Bad
Canadian
kids,
children,
naughty kids.
8 homeless Canadian children.
Yeah, that's right.
I feel like none of them are going to say that their parents have done the best thing by them.
Yeah, a little bit predisposed. By the way, being felt that they were always the problem child had contributed to the breakdown of family ties. No shit.
Did you do all your sources?
No, I'll get there. Relax.
Okay,
calm
cool. No
down.
worries.
Calm down.
Calm your farm.
I appreciate you being very concerned.
She's got no
about-
sources, Swanee. She's just
I
making
do.
shit up.
That is make it. That's why I think I interrupted them, was because where the fuck
This
did you
is
get that
nonsense.
from? What source is this? That's not a source.
This is
Idiot
quoted.
interaction.
This is literally
Wow.
quoted
I
the
just-
article by Deborah Dennett on the BBC. I'm quoting that, right? I sourced
Okay,
it
yeah.
already. Jesus.
Okay.
Anyway.
People.
The mental health impact may persist into adulthood, with maternal favouritism, for example, being associated with high depression scores in adult children. The bias itself may also continue in later life, with parents still playing favourites with their adult children. And while the parents rather than siblings bear the responsibility for this, favouritism can harm the sibling bond over the life course and increase tensions and conflict between the siblings. This is especially worrying as having good relationships with our siblings is important for our lifelong health and happiness because, let's face it, our parents die. That last bit was me, not the original source.
Not from the 8 people in Canada that were interviewed.
So research suggests that between 40 to 65% of people report experiencing parental favouritism, and often it is more prevalent when there is stress in the family. Financial problems or relationship issues between the parents can often cause these issues. We know it's bad, but it's a very common human behaviour to build an ally in times of strife. I mean, it's so common that an entire sitcom was built on it. Everybody Loves Raymond explored the impact of Raymond being favoured over his poor brother Robert.
I hated the ads for that show, let alone the show. I never watched the show.
Well, and if you had, you might have felt sorry for Robert. Because Robert was the second son.
My own family, and
you're probably right.
Middle child syndrome.
Oh, well, yeah, there were 3 of you, but in the case of Raymond and Robert, there's only 2, and Robert was the second son, and he definitely showed signs of lacking confidence and being jealous of Raymond because his parents were assholes. So,
that's nothing like my family.
now that you know that Bronwyn listens,
just saying,
no issue whatsoever, no favouritism. Anyway, so while the unfavoured child can experience negative emotion and mental impacts, what does it mean for the favourite child? Unsurprisingly,
hang on, I'll ring him.
What is Jeff doing? Anyway, unsurprisingly, pressure to meet the expectations of the parent and fear of losing their regard or failing to deserve the favouritism can impact the individual who has been highlighted. It doesn't really take a psychology degree to work out that the kinds of factors people are influenced by in choosing their favourite, as in the parents, often it's a child that they believe have more in common with them, or they're closer in personality, leading to a feeling of better understanding, or they look like them, or they just...
I'm feeling a bit triggered at this
point. They just feel they understand them better. And
I don't know where you're going with this, but I'm starting to feel uncomfortable.
Which is fair enough because that's the whole point of favouritism. It's not like you set out to do it, but there are some kids that you go, oh, they're like me, or I get them, or we get each other, we've got little jokes together. And, you know, as long as you level that out with making sure the other kids don't feel left out, that's not really a problem. Swanee. And maybe it's something that I've just highlighted for you that you might want to address. Now, sometimes it can be about skills. The sporty kids who brings praise to the parents through association or who achieves what the parent always wanted to is the hero, whereas the theatre kid feels tolerated at best, not celebrated as their interests are not the same as the mum or the dad. Okay, so now we've addressed the significant issues about favouritism and what it can mean to family dynamics. Let's change tack a bit. For today's case, we're heading to Springfield, Missouri.
Oh, which one? Missouri. We're back in Springfield.
I reckon we've been to this one.
We have at some point.
Yes.
Well,
we've done a lot of
I think I've done a Springfield, Missouri.
That might be the Wolfpack. Were the Wolfpack in Springfield?
No, they were like California.
Silver Lake or something.
I feel like we've done Springfield, Missouri before.
Springfield, Missouri is the largest city in Missouri, and it looks to be a pretty nice place these days. And when I say these days, it's because I'm not referencing, like Civil War or lynchings anyway.
But I think importantly, Springfield, Missouri isn't the Simpsons Springfield, is it?
No. There's like 55,000
There's loads of them. Springfield.
Everywhere.
Yeah.
I read 3 variations of where the name may have come from. Maybe it was a spring near a field, or it was named after.
Good job, dumbass.
2 other Springfields where people had come from those places.
A field near a spring.
Well, they may have been named for a
spring near a field.
Springy
a field
things.
Where flowers sprung.
This one is pretty good apart from its history of lynchings and Civil War and shit. It sits on the Springfield Plateau of the Ozarks, another favourite place of yours.
Brilliant.
Yes. Here we go.
And
We're hitting it now.
Still haven't watched it. And it has a nickname.
What?
The birthplace of Route 66 and the Queen of the
Queen
City of the Ozarks.
Why haven't you watched it?
Well, we started because, Tony's very controlling about the TV that we watch. And he didn't like the Ozarks, so we never continued with it. Basically, any program we watch that Tony doesn't show an interest in, we don't watch.
How can you not love Jason Bateman?
Oh, no.
I mean, I personally
I
thought
love him.
I was okay with it, but you got shut.
Oh, she's excellent in
Got
it.
shut down by my other half.
She's brilliant.
Yeah,
She's
brilliant. And what's the
Oh,
little
yeah,
curly
like-
girl?
Yeah.
Ruth.
The one I'm talking
Is
about.
that what you're talking about?
That's what he's talking about, yeah.
I thought you meant the other main character, his
The wife.
That's why I said
That
Julie
is his
Garner,
wife,
Ruth.
isn't it?
I don't know.
Who's his wife? Who plays his wife? I can't remember.
She was
She's-
out of
Ah,
she's in Love Actually. She's
Oh,
what
character.
is her name?
She's
the
one of the
one
main
that's one
characters,
in the
highlights.
side.
yeah.
And she's with the hot Spanish guy, and then she
Oh,
calls
God.
it off. So that's it on.
the hot Spanish guy, like there's only one.
In Love Actually, she's talking about.
in Love Actually.
Oh, sorry. Yes.
Remember when she's making out with him, and then she's got to go. Her brother's. She's like her brother's.
Let's call him
mentally-
Rafa.
Oh, I can picture her so well.
Love
Oh,
Actually.
And
yes,
cannot
I
think
do
of her
recall
name.
that.
Anyway, this isn't about that. Sorry.
Have we seen Love Actually?
Laura Linney.
Laura Linney.
Laura
Linney.
Linney.
Yeah.
It's hard to say, isn't it? Yeah.
Yeah.
And she is Marty and Wendy Bird.
That's it.
Yes. And Ruth.
God
and Julia
damn it.
Garner
She's
is
only
indeed
Wendy
Ruth.
Bird.
Why don't you just slap a table?
Sorry.
Wendy Bird.
Yeah.
I shouldn't thump the
Table
table.
slapper.
Table slapper. Well, you would know about that.
Don't be a
Kate.
slapper.
Don't slap the
Schmidty
fucking
don't like
table.
slappers.
I would know.
You
I would know about
mole.
I
that.
know you thump the table regularly. Anyway, it's fine.
I'm a table rubber.
You're a table thumper as well, but it's okay. It's fine.
You're a doodler, scratcher.
Serial
Scratcher.
doodler.
I'm a
I
doodler.
love you regardless of how much I have to cut out and
I love you,
anyway.
doodling.
The dude is
Okay.
going to get you.
Anyway, we digress.
So,
It's
talking
Schmidty's
about
story.
Yep.
it was also the home of Diane and Mark Staudte. A little ditty about Mark and Diane. Two American kids growing up in the heartland.
Heartland.
So their name is spelled Staudte, Carla.
What?
How sorry?
Can you repeat that?
Staudte. But I've heard Diane call it
Stuart. Is
Staudte.
that German, you reckon?
Yeah,
Or Dutch?
It's
it's
obviously
German. I would say
German.
it's German.
They're
Sounds
confused
German
as
and Dutch.
fuck.
Yeah.
Staudte.
It seems to be very dramatic.
Anyway.
From someone who's 1/16th German and has no expertise in German, that's German.
Okay, so back to your great concern, Swanee. My sources are, for this story, people.com, bbc.com,
Nonsense.
ozarksfirst.com, springfieldnewsletter.com, Wikipedia, medium.com, and anetv.com.
A&E TV.
I don't want to challenge you about your sources,
Sure.
Oh,
but
but
this
you
is
will.
the Springfield.
But it's gonna.
It has
It's the
springfieldnews.com.
It's a newsletter.com, but it's the Springfield. It's like
Right.
the leader.
Because I was thinking, I understand. I was just thinking that's the Springfield that got springfield.com, but they all have.
Oh, I
It's
see what you're saying.
newsletter.com, but it's
They've all got
just
their own.
specifically the Springfield
Yes,
variant,
gotcha.
if you like, the local
Makes
news.
perfect
Yeah,
sense
yeah,
now.
yeah.
Right.
Okay.
The other Springfields would have been so gutted to lose that.
Oh,
Damn
we
it!
lost
They
out,
always
man.
get in first.
Yeah.
They beat us to it.
So I couldn't find much about either Mark or Diane from their youth, which suggests they had a pretty unremarkable childhood.
Or they were born adults.
They were born adults. But they met at St. John's College at Winfield, Kansas, and were married in December 1985, Swanee, if you've got your notebook ready.
I have, of course.
Cool. Not long after
Write
they
that
were
down,
married,
Bob.
they started a family.
Oh.
Sean was the eldest, and 2 years later was followed by Sarah, and then 2 years again, Rachel.
Swanee, how many is that in the family now?
4.
5. So that's the parents and 3 children. Yeah, so that's
I've
5.
only got Sarah and Rachel. Who did I miss?
Sean.
Sean. You missed Sean, the eldest child.
The shit.
Bloody Sean.
Bloody
I
Sean.
had Sarah and Rachel. I sadly missed Sean. Sorry,
No,
mate.
it's a bit of a pest. They took a break from babies for a while, and their youngest was born at about 4.
They took a break from babies for a while.
Well, she knocked them out. She knocked out 3
That's
kids.
not the right phrase.
No, it is. It is. She knocked out 3 kids within 2 years each, right? So she was like on a schedule. And then she took a bit of a break, and about 11 or 10 years later, she had another child who will
How many is
remain
that?
nameless.
It's 4.
They had 4. She had 4 kids.
Voldemort.
No, for appropriate reasons, she remains nameless. Let's fast forward to 2012.
Is that a new birth certificate?
No, it's not. I
2012.
could tell you her name,
so-
but it would be inappropriate, so I'm not going to. All right, so shut
Oh,
up.
okay. Oh. Do we know How far after 1985 she was born?
The last child.
A break after.
Yes.
They took a break.
Yes.
About, hang on, 80, fucking hell, 85. Sean's 2 years after 85, so that's 87.
So 87.
And then we had Sarah 2 years later, so 89.
89,
Rachel, 91.
So early 90s, you reckon?
No,
Early 90s, yeah, let's go
2001,
there.
2002, the last child
They
was
had,
born.
like, that, there's a massive
There's a
break,
big
like
gap. That's the
10
point,
plus
right?
years.
You know, you go
Okay.
from kid,
Okay.
that's all fine, and then 10 years break.
That's
and
what
have another.
yes. Okay, that's what I was trying to qualify, right?
So let's
Brittany.
all the kids are bored, and let's fast forward to 2012. Mark was a singer.
Marky Mark, do you mean?
No, Mark
But Staudte.
Wahlberg.
Stouty. Mark Stouty. Little ditty about Mark and Diane.
About Mark Staudte.
I know, I tried. I worked on it for a bit, and then I gave up. To American kids. And by the way, Missouri is in the heartland. I Googled it.
Is it?
Yes, just before anyone
I
challenged
wouldn't
me
know
on
where the
that.
Heartland is.
It's like the whole
In the middle.
Midwest. Yeah. Let's fast forward to 2012. Mark was a singer and a guitarist, fronting a band he formed called Messing with Destiny. But professionally, he was a stay-at-home dad and occasionally a bartender. And, you know,
Professionally, he was a stay-at-home dad.
yeah, I mean, I would call that a no-account river fella who didn't do any work and didn't bring any money in.
Interesting use of the word
But
professionally.
I don't want to be a
because I
massive
feel like-
judgy because Diane's a massive judgy.
Also,
But
you can be
you know-
stay-at-home mums.
No, he was a stay-at-home dad because Diane was a clinical supervisor and had a nursing background and had become the family breadwinner. So she was not the she did all the earnings, and
Have
Mark
you
was
won
doing all
bread?
the.
Have you ever won bread?
Have I ever won bread, like in
Yeah.
a competition?
Well, why is it a breadwinner?
Oh, God's sake!
No one wins bread. It's
Okay.
nonsense.
So she was the major earner.
Lotto winner.
She was the woman who earned all the money while he was at home playing his fucking
Professionalising.
guitar and
Bartending.
maybe on occasion doing some bartending, right? And, I'm sorry, looking after the adult children. Anyway, not that I'm judging Mark because I'm sure he's a lovely man.
It doesn't sound like you are.
Didn't come off across like that, no.
Balance.
I
Balance
didn't
is
read
everything.
into that.
Balance is absolutely everything. So Diane was also quite musical and played the organ at their church Redeemer,
I bet
Which
she
was
did.
the Redeemer
She
Lutheran
liked to leave her
Church.
lips slip on the organ.
Don't be rude. She was a very upstanding religious lady. And, you know, they seemed like a really fairly normal family and they seemed pretty happy. But they had their challenges. Sean was on the autism spectrum and their youngest daughter had a learning disability, the unnamed child. Sarah, who was the second child, was at college and as far as I know at this point in time had no issues. Living at home, though, and Rachel was doing what a 20-year-old does, wandering around being a bit artsy. She was into playing the flute, painting, art and poetry.
Is that what a 20-year-old
Oh, yeah, that's definitely what a
does?
20-year-old I know
That's
doing.
my experience with
Once
my
on a
nieces. I gotta
fan
say,
Oh.
that's
Okay.
absolutely my experience with my nieces. So yes, I think it's quite normal. Then
Wow.
in April 2012, Mark took ill and died.
Oh.
Hang
Sorry,
on.
Mum.
What? You can't go.
The dad died just like that, like literally like that.
What year was that, Schmidty?
You want to
12.
talk about it?
Oh, back to 12. Okay, yeah.
Poor
Took ill
Dad.
and died.
Oh.
It just took ill and died. It was pretty sudden, but apparently he'd had an unhealthy lifestyle, singing in a band and bartending. So his death was attributed
That sounds
to
very unhealthy.
natural causes. He was 61 at the time. He was, I would say, moderately overweight. Not like, I wouldn't have called him
Didn't
obese.
mind the
Not
snack.
by Americans, Dan.
Oh,
I mean, when
Obese.
I looked at him, I thought he had a nice bit of chunk on him. I thought it was all right. But
A nice
You like
bit
a
of
bit of
chunk
something
on
to
it.
cuddle.
I do. I like a bit of meat.
I like
yeah.
that to cuddle.
I like a bit of a little bit of a grab. That's right.
Tony's so lean.
Tony, I know he's left the room.
Get a lean
she's doing
machine.
that.
He's also not
Anyway.
listening.
He's also left the room. At any rate, no, poor old Mark just died, right? And natural causes, apparently. But, in fact,
It
Sean...
sounds suspicious.
Well, it's funny you should say that because, in fact, Sean's Facebook posts around the time seemed to chronicle Mark's health decline and allude to Mark not being the greatest dad or husband. So I found this from some person.
You sick shit.
No. I found this.
Was that alluding or a little bit softer than that?
The funny thing is, I did look at Sean's Facebook page,
Of course you did.
but
You're already friends with him.
I didn't find
Baby
this.
reindeer.
It's all going to be very uncomfortable for you later when I reveal more of the story. But at any rate, at the time that I looked at this, I didn't see these things. But someone else, thankfully, on Reddit had put this together. So Sean says on the 1st of April 2012, my father is suffering from an incurable mental illness and is likely to die. Well, that's a bit shocking, isn't it? Then on the 2nd of April, he says, my father is slowly starting to have problems with driving and accomplishing anything. When he drove a car, the car swerved a little bit. I had to help him keep the car direction straight and properly turning. Followed by, on the 5th of April, my father is so insane that I don't want to be friends with him anymore. 6th of April, 2012.
What point do you become so insane you don't want to be friends with someone?
6th of April 2012. I don't know. You want to tell me? Anyway.
Well, no, I'm trying to work it out because, I'm sure insanity is a sliding scale, but at that point,
I'm not sure whether or not some of the stuff he's talking about here is about acute behaviours that he's witnessing or longer-term behaviours that have gone on for some time. And that's the difficulty. I'm not really sure whether or not he's talking about...
Is he?
I
That's
don't
where
know.
I'm going.
I don't know.
You can't just say that and
It's a bit...
once it's in writing, it's
isn't it?
gospel.
Yeah.
Don't write it.
So let's go to the 6th of April. Good advice, Clarky, good advice. So Sean says on the 6th of April 2012, my father has changed from panic, aggressive and selfish to depressed and suicidal. He took his car, wallet and cell phone. He said he would commit suicide rather than torment us. I don't know if I will see him alive. He no longer cares about himself. He never truly listened to other people. If he is dead, I want to see him to make sure he is dead.
What?
That's
Did anyone comment on any of
On the
these?
That's a
same
little bit
note,
morbid.
remember, I got this from a Reddit feed, so no, I don't know.
Okay.
On the 6th of April, Sean follows up with, I need a better life. Don't debate that.
Oh,
What?
I need a better life.
sounds like someone else we know. KD, Cabana. And
Like good old Katie Cabana.
KD. It's a theme, people.
Anyone know a good temple?
Constant craving.
Sign
It's
the fuck out
all-
some people.
Anyway,
No.
Oh, you bunch of crazy moles, you lot.
7th of April 2012, my father is slowly losing contact. He cares more about music and his computer than anything else, even his own welfare. I know some people like that, FYI. My family is
Or
slowly
their cats.
reducing contact with my father because he no longer cares and worries about us. I've been feeling good since I started limiting contact with my father. I no longer walk with him or travel with him. I don't talk to him unless I'm saying something important.
I'm confused now.
Which is
because
fair
Sean
enough.
sounds like the problem, not the father.
Remember, Sean is on the autism spectrum, so his view of the world is whatever it is. Might not be about himself. Might
I
not be.
guess we're gonna
He
find
may
out.
not be empathising. Let's put it that way. Again, on the 7th of April, my father is slowly getting sicker. His voice is slurred. So is mine. His walking is wobbly. His body is more tired than normal. So is mine. He had to rest
Don't
when
do
he
much.
realised his car driving was swerving the car a little bit. He is sleeping in bed longer than us. He may collapse under his weight at any time. And as I said earlier, yeah, he like.
Freddy Boomba.
No, he wasn't a fatty Boomba. He was like a.
That's
He's
what
not
I'm saying.
Robinson Crusoe, is he?
It's like,
No, he's not Robinson Crusoe.
Sean, I think you're over
I do.
Calm down.
8th of April 2012, my father is so weak that he must spend half the day in bed. His motor skills are deteriorated to the point where he cannot mow a lawn properly or drive a vehicle safely.
And mine too.
If he gets...
Lazy.
that's simple. Because if you die, you
It's
know,
been
you need to get
outrageous.
the mowing done as well.
Yeah, exactly.
Like Sean needs him on the job.
Exactly. Dad's not
Okay.
feeling well.
Give him a
Can't
break,
fucking
Chuck.
You
mow
know
the
it,
lawn though.
girlfriend.
What a wank
I've gotta
fest,
make
right?
this line.
Get him on the lawnmower.
If he gets behind the steering
Get out
wheel
and
of
mow the
any
lawn.
vehicle, his failing motor skills would put pets people, and himself in danger. And now,
Pets in that order?
yeah, pets
Yeah.
first. Pets, people, and himself. 9th of April 2012, where Sean writes, "My father died. He lived a full life. The cause of death is a stroke. His funeral is this week. His belongings now belong to my sisters."
Oh.
So, having trolled Diane, Mark's wife, her Facebook, she didn't seem that bothered when Mark died. At the time of Mark's death, she makes no mention of it.
She was pissed off the lawn hadn't been done. I don't
Yeah.
blame
No, that's
her.
it to
You're
just be
tricking
Sean.
us, aren't you?
In fairness,
have
that
a
was
nice
just Sean
lawn.
who was bothered by the mowing.
Oh.
She makes no mention of him dying that I could find. It may be an obscure religious quote, but her Facebook is full of those annoying inspirational
As
quotes.
opposed to the other religious
Mm.
quotes.
Yeah, and the schlock that God botherers like. Thank goodness for sarcastic memes. They really have saved the day from all that fake goodness. Maybe Diane was grieving in private rather than on her social media, although some of the people who attended Mark's funeral didn't think she looked terribly upset.
Oh.
Shocking.
However, grief does impact people differently, and who are we to judge? Also, if Sean's description of Mark are accurate, it's possible he was abusive and or suffering from depression. So after Mark's sudden and unexpected death, Diane received a small life insurance payout of $20,000. And I mean, like it is small. 2012, it's not a big amount of money.
To your point, that won't pay for your windows.
It won't pay for your windows, paid for mine. They moved to another neighbourhood and a larger home. The kids were all young adults now, and they needed.
What with their 20 grand?
Well, she sold her original home for about 50-something thousand. The house she bought was 70-something thousand, and she had this. I know it's all public
What?
record. I looked it up. I tell you what. If you were to buy a
I'll tell you
house
what it is.
in
I'll tell you
Springfield,
what it is.
Missouri, back in 2012, it was a go. They were going for a song. You could have bought a nice house for $75,000 US.
Brazilian
and,
or just normal?
No. They were going for a song, right? So she sells the house, the young kids move in, everything's good. So whilst they dealt with the sadness of losing their father, Mark, and the disruption of moving home, tragedy was just waiting to strike again.
Oh, no.
In September
Norman?
in 2012, that same year, poor Sean became ill.
Oh.
He seemed to present with flu-like symptoms. He had diarrhea, nausea, aches and pains and headaches that persisted for 3 weeks. Until, of course, he
COVID the fuck
died.
out of him.
Oh.
No, 2012, well before COVID. Again,
Well,
his
wasn't
symptoms suggested a tragic but natural death, and then he died. Now,
A turn?
Sean died.
Sean
he
died.
died.
Sean's
This
dead.
is the thing in this episode is
What happened to Sean?
Sean's dead.
Sean's dead! Yeah!
Sean's dead.
Sean is dead!
Have some respect. Sean's
Jesus
dead.
Christ. Oh,
Stop
oh dear.
Oh, Swatty. Oh, fuck. Okay. Unfortunately, his symptoms suggested a tragic but natural death, and so it was ruled, his cause of death was ruled to
what a
be
load of old shit.
prior medical issues, i.e. he has already had
Died a bit.
fits.
Prior
Anyway.
medical issues.
At the time that
is
Sean
a
died, and
reason
let's
for
be clear,
death.
Sean is dead. He died at 27 years old of
Hang
age.
on.
Oh.
Prior medical issues are
Because
a
he'd
cause of
had
death.
some kind of fits, of which I
Any
cannot
idea
think
on
of the
which one?
correct- I cannot think of the right word for.
No, but that's a shit doctor.
Mhm.
I don't really know what killed him. It was just prior medical issues.
Well, what was the name of the doctor in Springfield?
Julius Hibbert.
Dr. Julius?
Right.
Oh,
Is
no,
there
no,
a-
that's a
Dr. Julius?
scientist. No, there's another doctor.
No,
There's a medical doctor who's...
Nick Riviera.
Oh, Rick Riviera,
That
that's
one.
him.
Yeah.
Hey, Dr.
Nick Riviera.
Oh, Dr.
Yeah.
Nick.
I'm
Yeah,
Dr.
I know
Nick.
Dr.
Yeah. Anyway, he ruled it caused by prior medical issues.
I'm Dr. Nick.
Again, Diane's Facebook is just a post saying something along the lines of, I don't know how to say this, but...
Oh, bummer, here we go again.
No, worse than that. She goes,
So, oh.
I don't know how to say this. I don't know what
What
words
do you
to use,
mean
but
he's dead?
Sean's dead. That's how she announces it. My son Sean is
same.
dead. One of her daughters also posted at around the same time that they were
Is she on the
surprised,
spectrum?
quite possibly. Not been evidenced or diagnosed, but quite possibly.
Do we like her?
No, we don't like Diane. She's a munter.
Oh,
Little ditty about Diane. She's not very empathetic. So she puts a post up. She puts a post up saying something along the lines of, I don't know how to say this, don't know the words, but Sean's dead, right? Everyone?
I can't
FYI.
be munted with this shit.
That's right. And one of her daughters, and I'm not sure which one of it is, also posted that they were surprised as to how chilled out she was about the death of her eldest son. She literally showed absolutely no concern or remorse about Sean's death. Again, though, grief. People manage grief differently. Anyway. So the family say their goodbyes to Sean. I think he and Mark were both cremated, and then the family just move on. That's until June 2013 when poor old Sarah...
6 months later.
That's right. Sarah, the
Starts feeling well.
second daughter, or second child,
Middle
is
child?
now... No, not middle. Rachel's the middle child. Sarah is terribly
How
ill.
many children are there
There are
again?
4, but I'm going to call...
There's no middle child in a 4.
There's a little one.
The little one who's nameless, and then there's Rachel, who's
is that
the
because
third
they're
child.
short?
Sean gone, Sarah and Rachel. And Sarah's now sick, right?
They're underage. Their name is protected for legal reasons.
Oh, no, they're underage, she said, not because they're undersized.
Yeah. She was only 11 or so when this is happening, 11 or 12.
No, but not a little.
She didn't
They're
have...
not little
no,
people?
No,
No,
oh, God.
She didn't have a job at a chocolate factory.
You can't pick on little people.
This is going in such a direction I didn't anticipate.
Sarah's not feeling well.
Sarah's
Well,
beyond not feeling
can't pick
well.
on
She
anyone.
is
Oh.
terribly sick. She had graduated from college at the end of 2012,
Sorry.
and her graduation photo is one of the very few photos of her on her mother's Facebook. As I said, it's generally
On
full
your
of
mother's
those
face.
book.
Book.
It's generally full of all those inspirational slides and shit. But when there are photos of the family, Rachel, the third child, seems to have the lion's share. Also, it's 2012 and phone cameras aren't great, but seriously, Diane could not take a fucking photo for quids. Every
No.
photo of her kids is blurry, like she's the shittest photographer ever.
Fingerprints on the screen,
We don't
all
wanna
that sort of
judge.
shit.
Oh, I'm judging for that, right? She's just shit at taking a photo with her camera. So
Right.
Sarah is now, at this point in 2013, in Cox South Hospital fighting...
what?
Cox South Hospital,
COK
Ins-
or COX?
X, fighting
More than one?
for her
Plural.
life.
No, Cox, you said.
Cox South Hospital is what I said.
Oh,
Gosh.
I
4
apologise.
times now.
Sounds like balls.
She, like Sean, had flu-like symptoms, but her kidneys and brain were
Okay.
failing despite doing loads of tests. The doctors
Someone's
couldn't
killing
work
them.
out what was causing it. Yeah, you see, but what they're killing them with is masked by or looks like lots of other things. So this is why it's difficult for medical people to actually determine what it is that's killing them, or at all.
hearing
that's
you.
that's
It's not
killing them.
cyanide, I guess.
It's not cyanide
Not
this
cyanide.
time,
There's
no.
no midnight.
I know we
Mm.
just did a poisonous
And
story,
that's too
and
instant.
FYI, we're doing another one. And it's just a coinkydink. So Sarah was so ill, she was in the ICU and literally on the brink of death. To the point where no one thought whether she would
Would
die,
definitely.
right? She's dying. Poor old Sarah. At the same time as the doctors are trying to work out what's wrong with her, Springfield Police Detective Neil McAmis, not Chief Wiggin, got a tip-off from an anonymous source who ended up being Pastor
Who was
Jeff
it?
Sippy. Pastor Jeff Sippy.
He was a pastor, did you
Yeah,
say?
he was a pastor in the Lutheran church. There were several at the
back in-
time, but
Oh,
yeah,
the Lutherans are back.
he basically came along and said, you really need to have a little closer look at the deaths of Mark and Sean. And I'm pretty sure Diane's involved in this because he didn't really believe Mark died of natural causes. But when Sean died, he's like, this is ridiculous.
Yeah.
And then when Sarah took
Yeah.
ill, he's like, this
Yeah,
is
too much.
fucking
Yeah, come on.
ridiculous.
Is he a genius?
No, he's just a person who pays attention to people around
Paying
him.
attention.
And does the right thing and calls the police. Because the police didn't have,
What does he
like,
call
in
them?
fairness to the police, they didn't have a lot of physical evidence around Mark and Sean because they're both cremated not long after their deaths. So unless you thought there was a suspicion early on and you tested tissues and stuff, it was
I
all
thought there
destroyed.
was- I read
Cremating them.
Well,
Things are sus.
but I think because people are like, well, he's had fits before and
Also, her Facebook
They've
post.
done it on purpose.
He's also, got autism and maybe he's got health issues.
Oh,
Anyway,
that's a
whatever.
good
Oh
point.
God.
Anyway,
If he's got autism,
I know
it
it was dumb. I know I'm not justifying the nonsense. It's just
I'm
what
not
it is.
saying you are. I'm just saying that's the way the world works, right? Poor old mate.
Pastor Jeff Sippy had been suspicious at the get-go, and once Sean and then Sarah
Is that the one with bacon and garlic?
he was convinced foul play was afoot.
Mm.
So he goes to the hospital, so Detective Neil McCamus goes to the hospital to speak to the doctor who was treating Sarah, and the doctor said he thought it might be a poisoning case. Because, we've tested for all these other things and nothing's making sense. So it may well be she's been poisoned. So even the doctor at this point is going, I think she's been poisoned. So Sarah is dying at this point, and they have no hope of saving her as her organs are shutting down.
Oh, shit.
Now, the medical staff did notice that Diane, she's in ICU and Diane's the loving mother coming in, but she seems a bit relaxed about all of this. She's joking with the staff and talking about taking a holiday to Florida the following week. As much as I think that's callous and disgusting, having spent more time than I'd like in hospitals recently, you do notice that people who have trained in medicine can have a dissociative response to things as a coping mechanism. So I don't think her having jokes with the nurses was necessarily indicative of her being a total and utter psychopath, but I must admit that her saying that her 24-year-old daughter is in ICU and dying is a great time to plan a holiday to Florida a week later. That
Correct.
might be a bit weird and a bit off.
Excellently understated.
At any rate, the police are sus now, and they start to investigate the deaths of Mark and Sean and Sarah's illness. Now, as I said, they were cremated, so I don't really know how they determined that Mark and Sean were poisoned, but with Sarah still alive at this point, they were able to run further tests and determine that apparently they had all been poisoned with
Arsenic.
antifreeze.
Oh, it's not Heather's. Oh, no, Heather's was Drano.
Oh my God.
Antifreeze. So,
Yep.
Right.
Diane,
How did she get it into them?
I'll tell you, it's not hard apparently if you want to poison someone with antifreeze. So Diane's
God.
brought in
Put
for
them in the
questioning.
cold, make them feel
No,
cold,
not
and
even
feed
that.
them antifreeze.
Just put them in
Is
there.
it like
Put it in their
antifreeze
drink.
that you put in the car radiator?
I believe it
She-
is.
Yes.
I believe it's like a
Wait,
coolant
how does it
antifreeze.
work?
Very, very...
And the stuff they're talking about has got some antibitterant in it, so you can't taste it.
Correct.
So
Why?
I'm guessing they didn't
Why-
go cold.
What, the car doesn't like it? Why would they do that?
I have absolutely no
What's the
idea.
point
Who
of that?
cares? You're not meant to be drinking it, right? So make it as bitter as
Exactly.
possible. So if you're going to
Bloody
poison
fella.
people with it, they know they're being poisoned with it. Don't really understand it. Diane's brought in for questioning, and in a classic idiot move, does not have a lawyer present. She just does the standard chats away,
A classic idiot move.
She's a classic
I
idiot.
love that.
You'd know better, wouldn't you,
Oh.
murderous woman? You'd know
We
better.
all know, those of us
We're
versed
not-
in these things.
We're not doing that
As
anymore.
Reggie would tell us, always have a lawyer and say no comment until you got a lawyer there, right? Or even no comment when you're there.
We love our Reggie.
Wow. I love how you made that about Reggie, not about you. But
She's-
yes, that's
Because
exactly
I
what Reggie would
understand the power of the legal advice
say. I
we've been
understand
given.
how to get off.
She chats away with the police, and it doesn't take long, really, as far as I can tell, before she admits to poisoning Mark. Things were not good in the marriage. He was a prick. She resented
Was
his...
he?
Apparently.
Because one of them is a prick, but I'm not sure it's him. I mean, she's living her best life, lollipops and
No,
rainbows,
she resented the fact that he didn't make any money.
helping murder people.
And she also said that he was abusive and he threw things at her. But some of the things the kids have said suggest
She
that things weren't
resented
great.
the fact that
I'm
he
not
didn't
saying
make
he
any
deserved
money.
to be fed antifreeze and die. And I will get on to
But-
this.
Often in one relationship, there's someone who doesn't make money.
And it was him in this one. Anyway, from
So
what I
fucking
read,
let's kill
it
him.
sounds like he may have been suffering from depression
Boom.
and he may have been acting out.
From living with her, killing her family members.
Well, no, they weren't dead. He was the first to die. She wanted him gone,
Also that.
hating his guts. That's a direct quote from her. And while she thought about telling him to piss off, and this is the bit I don't get, she worried about him committing suicide, so of course it made more sense to knock him off.
Oh, she's
Isn't it?
thoughtful.
Well, I suppose he doesn't have a mortal sin against him then. I don't know how the Lutherans feel about the suicide, but maybe that's what it's all about.
Lutherans, did you say?
Lutherans?
Is murder not a mortal sin?
Suicide. generally is, yeah.
No, but,
No, but
no,
yeah.
she's
But that's
gonna know
her
that
sin, not
she's taking the
his.
sin
Yeah,
for him.
yeah, you're right.
Yes, but is she going to take the sin? That's
Oh,
what
I
I'm saying.
don't think she
Take one for
really
the
gave
team.
a fucking shit.
Yeah.
She just
All-
wanted him dead
All
because
the
she had
tags
a
are sticking
fucking
to me. I
enough.
don't know why.
I'm
All those people
fucking
died
sick
early.
of my fucking family. That's my read of this anyway. Anyway, she topped off his Gatorade with antifreeze, which didn't have any bit of flavour and meant he wouldn't know he was being slowly killed.
Oh my God, I can't
That's
believe that you would be able to
Were you
consume that
defending
and
her
not know it.
earlier?
No, I'm not, but I like to try and be balanced to say that there's not that he deserved to be knocked off, but
A
she had
fucking
some
balanced psychopath.
reasons. Anyway,
Also
as for
psychopath.
Sean, he was worse than a pest. Again,
That's what she
her
said.
words.
Worse than a pest.
Oh,
Live on a farm, there's
my
pests
God.
everywhere.
One of you were
She's a lovely
talking about
mum.
him being being on the spectrum, and I said yes, he was a bit of a pest. I foreshadowed where I am now. And they were her words. A burden, not having gone to college and not working due to his autism. She was over having to look after him. She said, and quote, get this, after a while, you get tired of doing everything for your kids.
I think I'm now where you're at. So he's the problem because he's autistic
God.
and she doesn't want to have to deal with that.
Correct.
Wow,
So-
I love my family.
She
Shit
said,
show
after
there,
a while,
yeah.
you get tired of doing everything for your kids. So you put antifreeze in their Coke and you kill them. Oh, she didn't say that bit. I said that. That's me.
There are
editorial.
kids Coke addicts.
Coca-Cola addicts, yeah.
Good clarification.
So I find that ironic, as not long after Mark died, Rachel, the third child, put a post up on Facebook with the meaning of mother, and it says mother, being a noun, one person who does the work of 20, full stop, for free, full stop. See also masochist and a saint.
Who said that?
Oh,
The third daughter, Rachel.
Rachel.
Swanee, you're the mother amongst us. Is that true?
What?
That definition of mother?
One person who does the work of
What?
20 for free, masochist and a saint.
Yeah, it's not far off. to be honest. It's one of those jobs.
Okay, let's go with
Yeah,
that.
it's
then.
just sort of- Yeah,
Good defo,
Yeah.
good
just
defo.
one of-
Swanee says,
you know,
let's go with that.
I can see what. Yeah, it's many things rolled into one.
I think
so
what's
yes,
important
this
to
is-
note is that was posted by Rachel on the 30th of June, 2012.
What happened on the
So
1st of July?
when did the dad die?
April.
12? April 12.
Oh.
And then, so after dad
After
died,
Dad died, Mum suddenly...
but before Sean.
For Sean, yeah. So there are lots of exchanges
busy.
between Diane
For
and
Sean.
Rachel on their Facebook pages. It's clear...
To be fair, if Mark was the one who was working from home, what was Diane's
She
job?
was trained as a nurse. She was a clinical supervisor at a hospital.
She was a breadwinner. She used
Oh,
to
God.
She made the money. He
she used to
didn't make
play
any
the
money.
bread
right?
lotto
Yeah.
and just win bread.
So there are lots of exchanges between Diane and Rachel on their Facebook pages. It's clear they had a close relationship and that Diane favoured Rachel. Of the four kids, she also, being Rachel, also looked the most like her mother. By all accounts, Rachel is what one would call an accomplished young woman, with her artsy ways, and her mother clearly thought she was the best of them all. The second runner-up was the little girl who gets very little mention but more photos than Sarah, and I didn't even see one pic of poor Sean on Diane's Facebook.
What's her name? Where's her
I
name?
won't say her name because she was underage at the
Baltimore.
time that this all
Oh,
happened.
okay.
yeah.
So there's no, you're not.
I'm
I thought it was
protecting
part of the
her
reveal.
innocence. No, I'm protecting her.
No worries. Okay, got it. She'll be the first person in the history of trial
If
by
you
wine
give
that
a
was
shit,
protected.
you can look it up. Like other people have let it out, but I'm
What show are
protecting
we
her.
on? I've dialed into the wrong Zoom meeting.
Oh my god, this is the first time I've ever protected someone ever.
She'd be an adult now, but I don't know. She might have changed the name. If the social media presence is a reflection of the family dynamic, Rachel was a top kid for sure.
Top dog.
Why did poor Sarah have to die? Apart from not being the favourite, well, she had a massive college debt and was living at home and not working, so she had to die too. She only graduated from college in 2012,
Wow.
and
So
they
it's like 6
tried
months
to knock
later.
her off 6 months later. She didn't have any opportunity to clear her college debt.
What a terrible way to go as well. Jesus, it sounds pretty shit.
Well, just wait and see, Swanee. So, unlike Mark and Sean, Sarah was actually taken to the hospital while she was dying, but not due
Yeah.
to some tweak
Oh.
of conscience. No, it was because houses apparently are nasty after someone's died in it, which is Diane told the police. So, now Diane maintained that she acted alone, but the police, building their case, searched the house, and guess what they found?
Antifreeze.
Not antifreeze, no.
Antifreeze?
I mean, they might have, but it wouldn't necessarily.
Sean?
No, a little purple diary belonging to Rachel,
Oh.
the favourite daughter.
Rachel. Child, okay. Mum's murdering my dad and my brother. But she's the best mother ever.
Like another criminal mastermind, Rachel had documented the discussions and processes Diane and herself had gone through in researching how to kill their family. So
Oh.
in the diary,
Whoops.
it talks about the chats she and Mum had about who to kill, when to kill, and how to kill them.
Seriously?
Yep.
That's beyond favoritism, though.
They had looked up poisonous plants and other means, but decided antifreeze would be the best as it mimics other illnesses, and it's quite hard to detect, apparently, FYI. She wrote, "It's sad when I realise..."
I bet you're shocked by that.
She wrote, "It's sad when I realise how my father will pass on in the next 2 months. Sean, my brother, will move on shortly after. It'll be tough getting used to the changes, but everything will work out."
Bloody hell. They were pretty confident.
It's insane.
Schmidty.
So Rachel is
have
now
names
under
been changed
investigation,
to protect the innocent?
only for the youngest, who I haven't named.
Okay.
Rachel's not the youngest.
Look, you've got a history.
Rachel's not innocent.
You've got a family. I'm just trying to check in to make sure that, because I don't know where you find this shit, but
I just found it last night. It's a great story, isn't it? Rachel is now under investigation, and it doesn't take long for her to confess either. Rachel did say that she argued with her mother about the planned killings. Sean, we argued a lot on because I still think we could have put him in assisted living, but Mum/Diane wanted him out. And as for Sarah, well, Sarah was equally unneeded. We could have found some...
unneeded.
Unneeded, yeah. We could have found someplace
Why
else
is
for
that
her.
not a word that's more common in our vocabulary?
Diane
know,
was
right?
very adamant
Not
she
for
was just a
family,
burden.
but
I know, I mean
unneeded.
unneeded. She was unneeded. Sarah, unneeded, yeah.
Work colleagues.
And according to
Unneeded.
Rachel's confession, even her little sister and the family's last child, who is remaining unnamed, would have to be killed later because Rachel wouldn't be able to take care of her. Fuck
What?
me, eh? Yes.
What was that last bit?
The little sister, the mum's like, well, you know,
Look after her
you can't
too.
look after her, so she'll have to be knocked off because you won't be able to look after her later. Yeah. Fuck's sake, right?
Oh my God, then.
Family annihilators.
It's
They are
totally
family
wackos.
annihilators is what they are.
They don't see any barrier to it. It's like, well, we'll do one, and that. Well, I guess that leaves no option. But yeah, I guess we'll have to get rid of your little sister too, or
Thank
brother.
God you're really in an enclave,
Little
eh? Otherwise you're fucked too, Rachel.
Is
Anyway.
familiar side...
This
word?
is a family annihilation.
Yeah, but is familiar side a word? Because I feel like
It is.
genocide's
It is.
a horrible
It
crime.
is a word. Yeah, killing your family.
But familiar side is like worse than.
Yeah. It's rare to find a woman who's killed a family. It's often men who commit
Yeah.
familial annihilation. But on this occasion,
Also a daughter.
turns out Mum and Rach.
That's
Yeah. So apparently Rachel wasn't...
mentally ill.
Oh, God, who knows, right? Apparently Rachel wasn't the only person to keep a journal. Sarah,
Oh,
prior to her illness, read her mother's journal where she predicted, as in the mother predicted, that Sarah would die as well.
oh,
Having said, Mark's dying,
What
Sean's
a
going to die,
household.
and now Sarah's going to die. And she says to her mum, what do you mean I'm going to die? And she says, you're not going to die, and also don't read my journal.
That's a good point. Yeah.
now they just sound stupid.
So
Okay.
Diane and Rachel were both tried and convicted. Diane pled guilty to first-degree murder for Sean, second-degree murder for Mark, and first-degree assault for Sarah, the plea ensuring she avoided the death penalty. She was sentenced to 3 life sentences served concurrently, and one of those sentences, happily, stipulates no parole. So she's in the clink for life. This is Diane.
Right.
Rachel
Okay.
also
That's
made
good.
a deal and got 2 life sentences, again avoiding the death penalty, somewhat miraculously. Sarah survived the poisoning.
Oh,
However, it did leave her with physical and neurological damage. And I believe she's in assisted
Not
housing now
brilliant.
because it's not brilliant, yeah. She read a short statement at her mother's trial, which reads, I forgive Mum for what she did to me.
oh,
No.
fucking hell. I don't like these guys going at all.
Not only she took away my dad and brother, she also took away my livelihood and my independence. I prefer to be a survivor than a victim. And finally,
Well,
The youngest daughter, who was unharmed, physically at least, was put into foster care, given her entire family are either dead, incarcerated, or incapacitated. Oof. And that, my friends, is the story of the Staudte family and the dangers of favouritism.
Bloody
Jesus,
hell.
the
Bloody
dangers
hell.
of favouritism.
hell.
And
That
just
escalated
being
quickly.
fucking psycho. Right, yeah. Thoughts?
It feels like it came out of the blue.
Yeah.
I don't understand when did she go mad, the mum? How long was
I
she
don't
been
think she was
doing
mad.
bad?
I think she was
Just
just
out of the
over
blue.
it. I think she's hit a point where she's
it's over it. Well, you
Over
know,
what?
her family,
everything.
everything.
it's just
No.
stupid, though.
You don't-
So leave them.
You don't get to.
There comes a point where
You
you're
gotta
just
murder them all.
tired doing everything for your children and your husband. You just got to kill them all.
I just don't get that.
I mean, it's a
at
good
all.
point
It's
you make.
bizarre.
I'm not sure why that doesn't get you off.
Yeah.
Oh, why did you kill all your kids
she
and your
just have
family?
left?
Oh, just because I was over it?
Well, to be honest, if she had got away with it, she would have been. I don't know. I didn't seem to bother her in any way. She's weird.
She
Is
is
there anything
weird.
like-
She's totally weird.
Have you seen her like interviewed or in court, or have you seen her speak or anything? What
In
sort of
fairness, I
vibe
only
do you get?
discovered this story at 11 o'clock last night, so I didn't spend as much time as I normally would.
How did you find it?
I don't know. I was just looking at stuff and it came up and I was like, oh, this sounds like a good story. I don't even know
what's
how I
that?
found
Yes.
it.
What's that family tree history thing?
Ancestry.com?
Yeah, that one.
No?
I reckon that's how she found it.
She's not related to me. No, I just came across it on something because I was looking at weird crimes, funny crimes, blah, 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 because I thought I better have a story for tonight.
I look at weird crimes all the time, and that never comes.
I don't know how I
Never.
found it.
Messed up.
It just came across it and I thought, oh, what's this?
And I love that you've billed it as favouritism.
That's, well, I started with luck, right, in
How
fairness.
do you know that I love you the most? Well, because I didn't
Because
kill
I
you.
didn't kill you out of all the others. That's right. When I started writing the story, I was making it about luck. Like, they're really unlucky because, everyone's dying. And then I thought, no, it's not really about luck. It's about favouritism. And that's why I built it about favouritism.
Oh, about murder.
Oh, yeah, totally. But Rachel was favoured, 100% favoured, always.
But you can favour people and not murder them.
Not murder everyone else in lieu of them, yeah. So, sentence, come on,
Oh.
step up.
I don't know, to be honest. I'm still struggling with the reality of what they did and just how cavalier they were with it all. Well, write it in our diaries, not even really try and cover it up. They just were so confident in
That's
doing
gross.
it. I'm
And
stunned. I
another
don't really
one down,
know.
Another one down.
Write it
another
in
one
my
bites
diary.
the
Yeah.
dust.
How do you punish someone who's
Hey,
that?
I can't wait till Christmas.
Bullshit.
Another one bites the dust. Oh, Sarah.
Can we just do it now, Lime? They're really pissing me off. All right, darling. Just go put some on his Gatorade, whatever.
I read something about her pretending that subsequently now, because she pled guilty, but subsequently saying that Mark was in with all these dangerous people and they must have slipped in and given him something.
Oh,
It's
blah,
all
blah,
bullshit.
blah.
She killed him.
No
I'm not
interest.
buying it either. I'm just saying
Literally
she's
zero
now
interest.
she's now moving to that, I'm just going to lie about everything.
Yeah, I'm the
stage.
good one here. I wouldn't have killed him if he didn't deserve it.
I would have chucked him out, except that, I was worried he's going to commit suicide, so I'll fucking kill him instead. Like, what?
She's
I'll,
good like
I'll help him on his journey.
What?
I'm
just
just
divorce.
trying to-
thoughtful.
Can we? Sentence. Smash her.
Come on, Swanee.
Both of the girls.
I really don't know. I'm struggling. Just because I think if someone's that deluded to think that there's, and to an extent they've kind of got away with the first two, to kill people in their own family.
Disgusting.
Be able to, and it wasn't one doing it. There was conversation, there was planning, there was just this total, they totally believed in the courage of their convictions. They were going to do it. It wasn't going to be a big problem. They had reason to do it. What can I do? Well, how can I punish them? They're fucking idiots.
It's not like step kids. It's your dad's birth to these kids. You know what I mean? Like, it's just so bad.
Yes.
I can kind of understand Rachel's position if she had been, back to my original discussion about favouritism, she'd been positioned in a way...
Troubled by her autistic sibling.
No. She had been put in a position of having to curry favour from her
Gosh.
mother,
Sounds like my family.
and the others were jealous of her and perhaps ostracised her. So she felt...
Oh, bullshit.
No, that was the point of the early
No.
stuff, Richard. I'm not saying that happened. I'm just saying if she was the favourite and Mum always favoured her And the other's like, she's a favourite.
We
Raymond
better kill them.
and Robert, right? We were jealous of her, whatever. But I didn't even get a sense that they were jealous of anyone. I just think that Mum just decided she's fucking had enough.
We need to talk
done.
off air about this.
You're the only one who's successful. I'll keep you. The rest are done.
What a mole.
Isn't it awful?
Oh,
My
what
God.
a mole.
Isn't it awful?
What a mole. It's not like they did, and it wasn't as if the kids had gone out and done anything horrendous that you go, oh my God, that must be so hard to deal with, and committed crimes. No,
It's just
They're
that
just
awful clique.
a drag.
We think that
Oh, what
we're
a drag.
the good ones and they're all the problems, and therefore let's
So,
freaking go them.
feel
It's
then
horrendous.
going to Trial by Wine World, because I feel like one of us has to
Oh,
make
here
a
we go.
sentence. I feel like if we have a nice pool of quicksand, I'm not quite sure, but I feel like Diane needs to be sucked down into the quicksand and just disappeared that way, because I feel like her role as a mother was to support her kids and to look after them, but also to buoy them up. And I don't know, at some point she decided to throw them under a bus, and I'm like, you can just be sucked into.
It feels like there's a piece of the picture missing. Like in a story like this, normally we would know that the mum's motivation was because she was desperate to be with another man, or she got rid of someone. Without any of that, it's just like, oh, you really just had enough, and you just
I'm
weren't that
fucking
interested
over
in
it. You haven't
Yeah.
got a job.
I can't-
You
I
haven't
just
got a
don't
job.
believe
I
it.
brought you into this world.
Yeah.
I'm taking you out of it.
Enough. And as for you, husband, go and play your guitar, or what it was, your drum, sir.
Stay-at-home non-breaders should be killed. Stay-at-home non-breadwinners should be killed. That's what she's saying.
She just says he's
And
an
there's a
old-cat
lot
river
of them in the
fella, and
world.
she's got to get rid of him, which, she could have done through divorce. But I feel like with the kids, she's just like,
But why did she
you're a
kill him in the
burden,
first
you're a
place?
burden, you're a burden. I'm going to get rid of all of you. I'm just keeping the one that's okay. And I'm probably only keeping her because she's aware of the fact that I'm a psycho
I mean, at
killer.
least men have the
Has to
decency
say.
to kill themselves in that situation, not kill everyone else.
Anyway, what would you
What?
do to sentence?
I think she needs, or both of them. I don't like either of them, right? I think they
I
are
think Rachel's
both.
pretty evil, frankly.
Oh, 100%. They are
Yeah.
in this. They are in cahoots. They are everything
So,
wrong.
I argued
with
with
the
Mum.
family.
She didn't go to the police and say Mum's planning to kill anyone.
She wrote a diary. What she
Also,
what,
Didn't
Dear
say to
diary,
the
Mum's planning to
siblings,
kill everyone.
Someone
Yeah.
might die soon. No, I'll just
and
keep that.
unbelievably, she's asked me to help her.
It'll be really sad when everyone's dead that I expect to
'Cause
die.
they deserve
But I'll
it.
get over it.
But I'll get all the money.
Oh.
I'll get over it. I'll be okay.
What's it about me?
I don't think it was
I thought
about money.
struggling.
I don't think it was about
No.
money. It was just like
She just had enough. She wasn't interested.
Mum wasn't interested in Rachel.
I just
Rachel
think they were
was.
assholes right from the start.
Yeah, so do I.
Bad family. Yeah.
There's not even bad family, bad people in the family. I reckon there were some good people in that family.
So what are you going to do about sentencing?
Maybe
So we had a thing today where
My beautiful dog.
Kipling came to the farm and was like, this is the best place ever. I can play in the creek, I can run around.
It's so great.
There's chickens and sheep
I'm
and
having
all
a
kinds
great
of shit.
time.
It's
Aw.
like Disneyland. And then I said to Schmidty, do you want me to turn the electric fence off? It's like, oh, I'm not sure. And then he got bitten by the fence.
He went up and sniffed the fence
And
and
he's
got
like, this is the best Disneyland ever.
it's a shit.
So I think
Yeah.
what I want is
Trouble
for
wide world.
Mum and Rachel to go to Disneyland and go down, a lovely slide thing, but for it to turn to a grater halfway down.
Oh, great. Well, I was okay with the electric fence because I've been zapped by one. It's very uncomfortable.
It wasn't
Yeah, me
any
too.
use.
We all
I
have.
tell you now.
But yeah, grater. Oh, it's a great ride. Actually, it's a greater ride. Oh
It's
no!
not.
All right. What about you, Swanee?
These people just are revolting.
They are revolting. I
And-
agree.
You're welcome. I'm pleased I could bring this to you.
You're welcome.
They don't seem to be influenced or have any interests outside themselves that I'm aware of. Do you know what I mean? So I can't use that as a leverage kind of thing. No, they're just lock them away. I just have nothing. I'm sorry. I really don't have anything that I can bring to it because I don't understand their motivations
It's
except
so
for
weird,
an
isn't
apathy
it?
towards their own, children, husband, siblings. It's like, oh yeah, just get rid of them. This is just all too much. What a drag they are. Good
It's
story, though.
revolting, I know.
Weird.
Look, I'm
Right.
happy to send them to some muddy hole, quicksand, crushed under a great deal of pressure and weight, and that's where we'll leave them because they're gross. So I'm all right with that.
They are.
Off they fuck.
Hideous.
All right. Well, on that
Yes.
note, thank you very much for joining me on that. As I said, I found it last night. Thought it was a good story, and you two
That's
are
good on you.
rose to the occasion. As we
Well
say every
done.
week,
Winning,
miss
darlings.
you already.
Ciao, ciao, my lovely.
Ciao. Bye.
Thanks for listening to Trial by Wine. You can contact us at trialbywine@gmail.com. Please rate, review and subscribe to Trial by Wine on Apple Podcasts or wherever you get your podcasts. If you'd like to support us, you can become a patron at www.patreon.com, Trial by Wine, or visit our website www.trialbywine.com to donate to us. Your support will help us cover many more cases and apply wacky sentences. We really appreciate you listening and hope you tell everyone about us. Our cover art is by John Christo and music is by Beauchamp from pixabay.com.